Welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica Foley Long, and with me we have Mayor Eugene Foulcard with the city of Franklin as my guest today. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Well, I know who will definitely be watching, and that is Mama Foulcard. She's going
Yes,
to be
well, my
watching.
mother will be tuned in big
Yeah.
time. She definitely watches the show at 6:30 and 9 o'clock,
And I know
then the
she-
next morning. So
Yep,
she's
at 8 o'clock. That's right. She's
she's
on
a
it.
big watcher, and she's always very excited, and she's always saying, when you see Danica, tell her I said hello. Yeah,
And look, and
then
she's
she's
told
crazy
me-
about Courtney as well.
Well, look, I can tell you this much, and she knows. She's like, I like when you ask those questions, so I gotta give it to you. I gotta get the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Oh,
so
yes,
she
I
knows
got
it's
you.
coming.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
good.
That's quite all right.
This is almost like I think everybody at home watching kind of knows my first question because I ask this question to pretty much everybody.
Yes.
What has been the greatest impact of COVID within the city of Franklin?
Well, I think one of the greatest impacts of COVID has been seeing a great deal of people that we know and love, and we've been around almost all of our lives, who've passed away from COVID. I think that is very impactful. One of my employees passed away almost a year ago on September 17th. He was my purchasing director. Reverend Darrell Guy passed away from COVID. And what I'm saying is we were with him on a daily basis and around him. And that was very, very hard. And so this is real. It is very, very heartbreaking. And I'm a fierce advocate of advocating the vaccination. I've said at a city council meeting recently, I don't get into the pros and cons of the politics of whether or not you should take the shot or not. I would rather see you get the vaccination, or you say, I don't want to take the vaccination because I don't know what's in the vaccination. But yet, if you test positive for COVID, you don't have a problem taking the monococcal infusion. Mm-hmm. So it works both ways. Let's get the vaccination and let's get this under control. I just feel like this is the only way we can really fight it and control it is to become vaccinated.
And I just want to kind of just transition just a little bit because you would think during a pandemic, a lot of things were shut down. I mean,
Right.
Honestly, we were at one point in kind of a lockdown, but your city seemed to kind of actually, I guess, kind of flourish a little bit during the pandemic as far as economically. So it obviously didn't affect you from the business side.
We continue to ask everyone to remain safe, follow all of the various CDC guidelines and the things that the federal government was mandating, but also we wanted to also have an air of inclusiveness to continue to move forward. We can't let this virus, defeat us and control all aspects of our lives, and we had to continue to fight and move forward. And I think that infectious spirit of moving forward, energized the city, and a great deal of people rallied around that energy of continuing to move forward.
So you had small businesses, and I say
Yes.
small businesses are like, the heartbeat of America.
Yes.
But have you been able to attract, big business, big corporations?
As a matter of fact, Evan Boudreau and I have been meeting and we've been speaking. We are looking at some other businesses that can come into our area. Fingers are crossed. I'm hoping that some things pan out and come to fruition. So we are looking at other big businesses to possibly locate into St. Mary Parish. And, our mayors, I call it the Mayor's Club. Mm-hmm. It's 5 mayors in the parish, and along with the St. Mary Parish government. And we work well with all of the various mayors. As a matter of fact, Mayor Dragna and I have a very good relationship, as well as Mayor Grogan and all of the mayors. But Mayor Dragna and I, we were talking about that on that front of being port related type cities and doing some things to diversify, not putting all of your eggs in one basket with the oil and gas, but with shipbuilding companies, metal shark, golf craft,
Right.
and doing some things necessary to attract other businesses besides just oil and gas.
Now we're going to go to break, but I got to come back and address this because I want to know what type of business. I know you may not be able to give us the
Yes.
name of the business, but like what
Yes.
type of business? You know,
Yes.
what is likely to come to St. Mary Parish? But come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast. We have our guest, Mayor Eugene Foulcard. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Again, I am your host, Danica Foley Long, and with me we have Eugene Foulcard. He is the mayor of the city of Franklin. Now, of course, I like to get all the real good, juicy bits of news, and I like to break it first right here on the Voice of the Coast. Now, you mentioned about some businesses, some prospective businesses.
Yes.
Tell us maybe at least the industry, what type of business it could be.
Yes, well, that's one of the things that Evan and I had been meeting, and we've been meeting with some prospects for the Franklin area. One of the things that we're excited about, the old Fred's building will be taken over by the Veterans Administration. That will have a medical clinic set up there.
Now, let's put a pause right there. First and foremost, that is awesome because I know of, at least I don't know if they're still doing it, but there was actually they had set up transportation to meet at Walmart and go to New Orleans.
Drive to New Orleans.
Now
they'll
they'll have
be
their
right
very
here in
own, it's a
Franklin.
clinic, it'll be a clinic.
They have doctors,
Come on,
physician assistants,
that's
nurse
pretty huge.
practitioners,
That's huge.
X-ray, the whole nine. They're going to have everything needed at that clinic, and we were just very excited that the Fred's building worked out well for them
Yeah.
as far as having a clinic right there.
Now,
Because the owner of Fred's and I, we had been meeting pretty frequently, even during the midst of the pandemic, on potential prospects for that particular building. So I was, pretty hands-on on attracting and making sure that we could get someone into that building.
How soon are we looking at that coming online?
That should be within the next couple of months or so. They're building out and doing the things necessary to make it compliant on the medical end of becoming a medical clinic for the veterans. So we're very excited about that.
Okay, so Fred's is going to be a VA clinic.
Yes.
Wow.
And as a matter of fact, some of the potential prospects, I don't want to give too many details on, some of the business plans of some of the prospects for the Franklin area, but they do have some companies, or a company that is looking very hard at the Franklin area to be a production site and shipping site for PPP, protective
equipment. Huh?
equipment,
Okay.
the mask, gloves, the whole
Scrubs
nine.
and all. Yeah. So what about how many people are we looking at for that to be
Well,
hired on? You think?
They're talking about 50 to possibly
Come on.
75 employees.
All right. All right.
So my fingers are crossed. I'm just hoping that this does come through. I don't like to
Yeah.
build folks' hopes up,
Uh-huh.
and I'm glad to see that we could diversify. I've heard Mayor Dragna and even Mayor Prejean, they've always advocated that, look, we need to diversify. We can't have all of our eggs in one basket with the oil and gas industry, because without that foresight,
Oh.
you'll lose sight of other markets and other areas that we could diversify. And
that was my
you
word
don't want to have
yesterday.
all of your eggs in one basket. So I'm glad to see the metal sharks and golf crabs of the world. We have our carbon black plants, but we also need other diversified businesses to come into our area besides oil and gas. And, so that's one of the things that I'm very excited about.
Right. The word of the day was definitely foresight. So we had that conversation yesterday. So medical, but let's speak in terms of, you got VA clinic, you have possibility of a business coming that's going to provide medical equipment like, PPEs. I mean, still along the medical live industry.
Right.
Then you also have a new, what is that? It was an urgent care, right? That's
Yeah, we
pretty
have
new.
fast-paced urgent care
Yeah.
has opened in Franklin, and we're excited about that.
And then the
Uh,
wellness center
and
is
then the
coming up
wellness
with
center
the,
is coming up extremely well. So we have a few things that we have going on to give some options for our residents.
come on. All right. So the business side seems like it's going to be going pretty good. I want to talk about housing. We'll
Yes.
talk about that when we get back because if you got the workforce, which is hopefully you have the workforce,
Yes.
where are they going to stay? Where are they going to
Exactly.
live? We'll talk about that shortly.
Okay.
Come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast, right here on KWBJ TV 22. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Again, I am your host, Danica Foley Long, and with me we have Mayor Eugene Foulcard with the City of Franklin. So we're getting to the nitty-gritty. This is definitely the part where we get to the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we talked about economic development. Sounds like you guys are on a pretty good pace with the new businesses that are coming. You still have your small businesses that are
Yes.
that are flourishing, and you have likely some prospective businesses that are coming. In addition to just medical facilities are seemingly popping up, and we have the wellness center with Franklin Foundation that is
Yes.
actually there. You can see the dirt and everything.
Right.
You know, they're moving
They're
on that.
moving.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And so I'm going to bring up a question, a conversation that I've had with particularly our Baldwin mayor, Phil Prejean. We had a great conversation even after the camera stopped. And one of the things is you have the jobs. This is great. I mean, you have the businesses that are coming, which is going to offer jobs. But where are these people going to stay? And particularly, I'm just going to mention Baldwin. Now, granted, beautiful homes. I've gone on Zillow, looked on homes, and there are 300,000 plus homes on beautiful tracts of land. But I'm like, well, where are the more affordable homes for those
Right.
folks who, are, the middle class who just need
Yes.
they need a nice home for their family, a nice single family home. I don't feel like we have that here. What about housing? I mean, what subdivisions?
One of the things that I've always been very adamant about incentivizing the housing market in the Franklin area. One of the things that we immediately addressed when I took office was dealing with housing that we needed to look at condemning and demolishing. We've condemned and demolished a number of homes in the Franklin area as part of Project Front Yard and cleaning up a great deal of the housing. One of the other things we had done recently, I had gone and testified before one of the House committees, Representative St. Blanc and I, on a junk car ordinance where we could give the municipalities some teeth in the ordinance so that we can start cleaning off many of these old cars that also help clean your neighborhoods up. So while we're addressing the issue of the blight by cleaning off and tearing down some of these old houses that need to be torn down and cleaned up, we could start with the property owners to say, hey, this could be a prime prospect for some type of modular home or something to that effect. But Evan and I, in Glen Todd, we've also pondered and kicked around some other prospects with some potential developers that could come in and build some reasonably priced houses in the Franklin area that are not gouging out someone's eyeballs with the prices. One of the things in Franklin, we haven't had a brand new subdivision in the Franklin area since Eastwood. Eastwood is 55 plus years old now, and that's one of the last new subdivisions built in Franklin. So, so I'm pushing very hard to diversify the housing prospects and, encouraging, even our homeowners to cut your grass, clean your yards up, tidy up, maintain.
Right.
Don't worry about what you don't have. Let's take care of what we've got right now. And I think that can become infectious and people can jump on board and do the things necessary to help us incentivize housing
Yeah.
in the Franklin area.
Right.
So I'm very optimistic that we can move forward on some new developments, and continue to encourage everyone to clean up their yards.
Okay. But sounds good, because I definitely wanted to know more about, the housing market. And, honestly, I guarantee if I ask, where are the new houses? You know what they're going to say? Berwick.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
But
Yes, so
going good, and
yeah,
what
we're
we're
working
gonna,
on it.
that's
Yes.
good. You're working
Yes.
on it, and that's what we wanted to hear. We wanted to know what's new for Franklin. So we're gonna take a break. We'll
Yes.
come back. That time is like moving
Yeah,
fast,
time is
right?
moving
So
quickly.
we're gonna talk a little bit quicker. So come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. I'm going to talk pretty fast. We're going to get through all these questions,
Yes.
because we get to talking and the time just flies by. Now let's talk about the money. You've got some money in your hands. You've got the monies from American Recovery Rescue
Yes,
Program
we've got
Act.
the first tranche
right.
of the money. The city of Franklin was awarded $2.47 million. We've gotten $1.2 million of it in, and as always, you have to have a game plan for it. We did a lost revenue calculator worksheet, and so we know pretty much where all of our lost revenues were during the course of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're going to make sure we appropriate all of the dollars where they need to be appropriated with the lost revenue, and we have to ensure that we take care of all of our frontline workers and the workers that were involved with dealing with the COVID-related, coming in contact with the public. We still had to expedite services.
Mm-hmm.
Also, having a game plan of addressing our water lines and valve replacements, and booster pump stations out near the Northwest Boulevard area, because that's where a lot of our growth will be coming in along Northwest Boulevard. So we have to be ready for that growth as we move forward. So we're rocking and rolling. We also have some funding coming through the pipeline for a fishing pier boat launch or a kayak launch on the Franklin Canal, at the foot of the Franklin Canal, on the backside of Hanson's football field, basically.
Okay.
Where we'll have a loop down the Franklin Canal into the Hanson Canal, into the Bayou Tash, and it's one of the only ones that will be created in the state of Louisiana that have a 1 mile walking distance. If someone wanted to park their car at the behind the courthouse and walk over to the boat launch on 5th Street, they could do that, and then paddle their boats around the wildlife refuge, and then do that within a 1 mile radius. So we're excited about the prospects of building that fishing pier and boat launch. And we've also been awarded $1 million in funding for our 2 community centers, the McCarroll O'Neill Community Center, and also Bruce Hart Harris Community Center, where we will be installing brand new air conditioning or HVAC systems in those 2 community centers, which is very needed. They will recycle the air, and also they have state-of-the-art mechanisms in there to filter the air and also take out any particles or anything, the contaminants that could cause, airborne related viruses or anything of that sort. So we're very excited about the new air conditioning systems that we'll have installed in those 2 centers, and we worked closely with South Central Planning out of the Houma Thibodeau area with Kevin Belanger, and we're very excited about that.
Okay, well, you definitely gave me just about all 3 of those things. That's great. I want to talk about the fishing pier really quickly. And I recall covering the parish council meetings when your uncle, Mr. Albert Foulcard, was
Yes.
on. And one of the things, it was almost like he knew this was like his wish before he got off the council.
Yes.
He said, I would love to see a fishing pier. Is that how that came about, the idea of it?
Yeah, my uncle, yes.
Yeah.
God bless him, he was very, very adamant about, having a fishing pier out at the Burns Point. But actually, it was a combination of things because Councilman Joe Garrison, who's an avid fisherman, he had been advocating that the city of Franklin look at a fishing pier on the Franklin Canal. So a combination of Councilman Garrison and my Uncle Albert, they had, really, kept a
Right.
bug in my ears that we
Okay.
needed to move forward on doing something of that sort of giving folks some options recreationally to do in Franklin. So we're very excited about the prospects of doing that.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you as
Yes.
always for coming out and giving us an update. We really appreciate it. And as always, I still didn't get to one of my questions, but that's okay. We'll
Okay.
do it next
We'll
time.
do it next
All
time.
right. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.